Good day, everybody. Craig Zimmerman along with my compatriot Jerry Bassett here on a Saturday afternoon. As you can tell, a little different venue this year. We've got the brand new field here at Mariner Field at East China Stadium.
Well, it's absolutely gorgeous too, isn't it?
Beautiful afternoon here, Saturday, August 22nd, and the season is right upon us, Jerry.
5 days away. Thursday the 27th, the Mariners travel to Algonac, take on the Muskrats, and it's another season.
The old Scal matchup, if you will.
Right. That's right. Algonac's had a tough time the last few years, but they feel good about themselves from what I've read. They like what they see. So
people have said that they're much improved from the last couple of years, and obviously their coach, I believe, is in their third or fourth year, so he's had a time to put his package together.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You get the program going, get the kids to believe in the program, then you start getting kids out for the program. That's when you start winning.
Yeah. Speaking of the field here, just got done about 3-4 weeks ago. They took the entire artificial surface out. They took all the rubber pellets out, stripped it, put a new barrier in. There's a new concussion barrier put down. Then put the green grass in.
And it's staggered.
It's a little light green, dark green every 5 yards.
Oh, that's nice.
Got a Jerry Bassett special in this year.
I've got hash marks. Nothing else to complain about now.
Right.
We've got a beautiful field with hash marks.
Got your hash marks.
St. Clair is
at the north end,
in the end zone, and Marine City at the south end, and it's MC Marine City, and at the north end it's SC St. Clair, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
in
nice.
the school colors and absolutely gorgeous.
Yep.
One thing I did notice, Craig, the first time I walked on it was this morning when we had a work crew going to paint the fences, try to make that look nice. I did notice this is soft.
Yeah,
it's
very soft right now.
If you've ever run on a beach, even if the sand is packed down a little bit, it's soft. You can feel it. It works, and I'll tell you, kids better be in shape this year if they're going to run on this. That's the take I got. It seems like it would slow you down, but it's fair for both teams.
Yep. So brand new field, brand new season starting off. You're 0-0, coming in for the Mariners. It's always the type of thing that we see. You go into dinner somewhere in town or talking to somebody, and the question comes up, how are the Mariners going to be?
Yeah, I get that a lot. Right? Have you heard anything? What do you think? What do they have coming? And it's interesting, Ron Glodich told us that defensively the front seven is strong. Very strong, but they're going to be inexperienced, maybe even starting 2 or 3 linebackers in the secondary. He feels that once they come around, that they're going to be really good on defense. And, Mariners are always tough on defense anyway. Yeah,
and then offense, a whole new backfield, new quarterback, new running backs.
Nobody back, zero. He has 0 returners. And Ron said that it's made this camp really interesting because he feels like they're going to be a lot more diverse this year than they have in years past. They've got some speed at fullback. They've got a bruising runner at halfback. They've got a good tight end, good wide receiver. So they feel like they can throw the football, they can run the football, but like I said, nobody coming back. This is all new, and it's going to take a couple of weeks, or maybe sometimes longer, for everything to gel. But
I think the big thing, though, is that the Mariners system has been in place so long.
I was just going to say that.
With all the coaches, the position coaches, and it's not like they showed up August 1st to put this together. There was, weightlifting all summer, all winter long. And strategizing. So they knew last fall what nucleus they had to put together. Right. Strategize, put the right kids in for the benefit of the team in the right spots. So I don't think there's any question there.
No, but you got to remember, you said it, they're kids. And some kids can go from I know I went between my freshman year and my sophomore year in the summer. I went from 5'6" to 5'10". Right. And these kids can do the same thing. They can grow 2 or 3 inches. They can put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle. Mm-hmm. And so that is always interesting when football starts. If they haven't seen them for a couple of months, it's amazing how much they can grow over a year.
I remember 2 years ago doing the same show. and we talked about not knowing what was going to happen because at the time we had a new quarterback. Alex
Right.
Merchant came in from Port Huron.
And everybody said, yeah, he throws the ball pretty good. That's what we got.
Yep. But you know that the coaching staff has the right nucleus to put the correct ingredients in, and the Mariners will have a good season regardless of what the exact record will be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'll be as good as it can be.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's you got to have the talent. I mean, you got to have the talent to win. But they will have a good season. You're right, regardless of what the record is.
Yep. I don't know if you saw the statistic that came out. I think it was sometime in maybe May on D-Zone, rated the top maybe 10 to 15 teams the last, I believe it was 20 years, no, it'd be the last 10 years, who had the most wins. And Marine City was at the absolute top. They were number one.
Oh, really?
For wins in the state the last 10 years.
Well, there's 2 state championships in that 10 years, and would they go 12-1? What do you have to win? 14 to win
14,
the state?
yep.
So they were 13-1 one year and 13-1 both years, weren't they?
I think so.
I don't think they were undefeated. I think
No, we've never had an undefeated team. Right. I think it was 13-1.
both years. So there's
Right.
26 wins right there.
Right. Coming into it, obviously, we don't have maybe necessarily the, if you want to call them marquee names that, they've been looking at for years, but I don't think there's really much to worry about.
No, you don't rebuild, you reload.
Right.
I know, that's the thing. This is high school. Same in college. You can't rebuild like you can in pro football
Right.
or pro sports. This is it changes every few years.
Yep.
That's just going to happen.
So what did Coach Glodish tell you the other day?
He just said, he feels that this offense is going in the right direction, even though they have nobody coming back for the 3rd time. They have nobody coming back, and he feels like they are headed in the right direction. He thinks it's going to be a fun year with the diversity that they're going to have. It's always been they either run or they throw a lot, one or the other, and this way they're going to be able to, and you have one real good runner, and this year he's got several runners
Right.
That they can give the ball to and go. They always develop a couple anyway.
And most people, they look at it and say, well, I don't know who's going to be the running back. Well, understand, these kids, this is not their first year of playing football.
Right.
They played as an 8th grader or 9th grader in JV, so they've been,
Right. And then, like I said, defensively, they're going to have some sophomores up that are in the secondary.
Yep.
He said 2 or 3 maybe, as many as 2 or 3 sophomores. And, that takes a while.
Right,
I don't,
to gel.
because this is, it's a different speed every time
Right,
you
go up a
go.
level.
We talked about, this team went undefeated as sophomores at such and such
Doesn't
school.
mean much.
It means nothing.
Yeah.
This is when it means something when you get up here, because a lot of times the good freshmen, the good sophomores are already up on varsity.
Yep.
And and playing too. They don't
Right.
bring them up to sit. If they bring a kid up, he's going to play.
Right.
And so this is where it counts, and it's a different speed. Each level is a little bit quicker, and you talk about the college level. When we interviewed, help me out, the lad from St. Clair that's
playing for the New Orleans Saints.
Yes, Tim
Lolito.
Yeah. When we interviewed him, one of the questions I asked him, how about the speed of the game? Is it much quicker? And he said it's unbelievable how much faster it is. Everything.
Right.
I mean, not just physically, but you got to think right away too. They have their reads just like they do in high school now. We didn't.
Right.
That
Back in the day, right?
No, but they have their reads, but it's so minute. You have to notice a guy moving his
No
foot
time
to
to
the right.
flinch.
Right.
It's
And
gotta
you
be
got to know right
second
now
nature.
what you're going to do, and that's the difference, I think, in each.
Well, sort of the same point that while you play a good competitive, say, league schedule, when you get to playoffs week 9, 10, 11, these teams get better and better, so the same thing happens there. The speed of the game increases.
Exactly.
And the quality of the game increases.
Right. Last year we ran into an Elmont team, with a lot of times they're one-year wonders.
Right.
I'm not saying that they will be. They could be really good this year, and this could be the beginning of their program, like old-time Marysville or present-time Marine City program. It could be, but at this point,
history really is not
right. You run
that.
into a lot of schools. How many times do you see somebody that gets to the semis in the playoffs, and the next year don't make the playoffs.
I followed it pretty closely, as you know. So I mean, most of those teams, like the team from about 4 or 5 years ago that we faced. Where's Winchellers from? That's where that town there. The next year they didn't make the playoffs. We look at Elma. Elma, we played in the semis or the quarters one year, and I think the next 3-4 years they won 6 games for 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's exactly the case.
That just happens. I mean, that's it. But here it seems to
continue on.
And then, you know, I mean, it's great because you come over here on a Friday night and the stands are full, and it's not just students, or it's not just people that have their kids playing. It's people that haven't had a kid in school for a long time.
The other thing too is that when you look at the percentage of the games that the Mariners have won in the last 10 to 15 years, I always say, let's say Joe Parent sitting up in the stands wondering why they're running up the middle 3 plays in a row and they're yelling, don't yell.
Yeah.
They're basically setting it up for the next play or the next set of plays.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And when you win 92% of your games, all bets are off. You don't ask questions, right?
Yeah, that's right. You know, once in a while I will say, oh, I don't quite understand this play calling late in the game or something. I'm not real sure why they're doing that, but there's usually a reason.
A reason why.
I'm certainly not second guessing. I'm just saying I don't understand why they're doing it.
Yeah. And
I'm not going to second guess them.
And usually 15 minutes later you go, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
So looking at the competition this year, Marysville seems to be one of the favorites.
Yeah, according to one of the writers in the Times Herald, he thinks Marysville is the team to beat, and but he said once again it'll be Marysville, St. Clair, and Marine City, and that's the way. In the MAC, this area is rich in football tradition, and you know, everybody used to want to keep up with Marysville in this area. Now, for the last 30 plus years, I guess everybody wants to keep up with Marine City, and you know, obviously that improves all 3 programs. And look at the MAC. I mean, some of the teams down there aren't that good.
Interesting season starting off too, with the fact that we've got, number one, we've got a lot of we'll call them crosstown rivalries starting off. We got Marine City against Elginak, we talked about. We got St. Clair going into Croslex. It was somewhat of a crosstown scenario. They're not too far apart. And then you've got Marysville against Richmond. That story there is Marysville played them in week 9, I believe, and Richmond took it to them pretty heavily. So Marysville's looking for a little vindication there.
I think they lost in week 1 to Richmond also. I think that was the second time. Pretty good.
And so Richmond's looking, or Marysville's looking for a little revenge there. It's a non-league game, but it's still a very, very important game. Marine City starts off Elginak. Week 2, St. Clair. Week 3, Marysville. So there's no getting ready this year.
No, and without a veteran team, that could be tough. That's a tough schedule. You'd like to get those tough teams. Week 5, 6, 7. Week 6, 7, somewhere in there. But, you know, it is what it is. You have to do it, and, you know, hopefully those sophomores that are going to be in the secondary
grow up real fast.
Yeah, they have to grow up real fast, and hopefully they're good enough athletes to be able to do that. And students.
Sure.
You know, you got to be smart too.
Some of the returning guys this year, Dennis Fitzsimmons, obviously, this will be his 3rd year starting, or 4th. I think he was brought up as a 9th. Yeah, he brought up as a 9th grader, I believe, for playoffs, but didn't play the whole season. He's a tough one, following the footsteps of his brother.
Yeah, he's a lot bigger.
He's playing offense and defense. He'll be a tight end. On offense, he'll be
so
or
like
DN.
Ron said, a tight end with a linebacker mentality. So that's tough.
You got Max Kretschmar, played quite a bit last year. He's back. He's
good.
Then you've got the Headley brothers, and they played just about every down on defense last year.
Yes, they did.
Both Jacob and Justin. You got Kretschmar playing again on defense and offense. You got Pat Salas. Pat Salas saw quite a bit of play last year. William. And so you've got, a fair amount of people there. Andrew Steinman's played quite a bit last year.
He did. He started a lot of games on, if not all, on down linemen on defense.
Seems as though the quarterback this year will be Cole Sobel.
Yeah, I guess it's a pretty good battle for the starting position, but Cole, at this point, you never know.
Yeah, Robert Mazzone will be the backup quarterback, and he's a wide receiver.
And he's a good athlete, and he's very capable of taking over the quarterback position too.
Yep.
Cole, of course, was in secondary on defense last year, did a nice job.
Right. So I mean, high expectations. Next week's game, or we'll call it this week's game.
Yeah, this week's.
Will be Thursday night at Algonac. So you'll be sure want to catch that one. Playing on grass that first week, right? Algonac doesn't have turf.
No, they don't.
Not that it matters, but
Well, usually it's in good shape this time of the year.
First game of the year.
You get into November, end of October, November, and you get a couple freezing nights. Sometimes you're
a little hard.
It's ruts and it's frozen, and it's tough.
See if they forget to cut the grass for a week and a half.
Yeah, I don't think that would.
I don't think it's going to matter.
I think that would hurt us,
Right.
Because we're going to be pretty diverse, like I said, on offense.
Yep. And then we'll be back here the next Friday against St. Clair, and that is a Friday game of the holiday weekend.
That's a Friday game.
Okay.
That's what the schedule that I looked at said it was a Friday. Do you have the schedule?
Don't have the schedule. Last 10 seasons, just backing up a little bit because it has it here, 110 wins, 13 losses.
Wow.
And if you got 10 seasons, you got 13 losses, won 2 championships. So really you take 8 of those losses, 8 out of those 13, we're probably, they were for sure in a district final or later, 8 of those losses.
Wow. Yeah.
So
pretty good record in the match.
5 losses in league play in 10 years. So 31-4 the last 3 seasons. We were Division 5 last year. That's something we didn't really talk about early on because we didn't know at that time.
Right.
The number of students this fall, according to what our thought process was, will be less than what it was last year.
Yes.
So it's pretty much a given that we'll probably end up Division 5 again this year.
Yeah, at least.
Again, that doesn't make it any easier for anybody.
No, not at all. There's always a powerhouse in each division.
So the coaching staff, basically pretty much the same. Ron Glodich is the head coach, Darren Letson, offensive coordinator, Matt Pollock, defensive coordinator, Andy Shields on linebackers and DNs, Dave Osterlin for the D-line. One change for the coaching is Tony Scarcelli is back on varsity. They're calling it defensive quality control. I mean, Tony's got, 27 years? I don't know, something like that,
least,
right?
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
He started, I believe it was the year before Coach Bob.
Yes.
He started I think it was 1 year before. Maybe 2?
Maybe 2. He might have got the last year with Jerry Warkentine and then that first year with
Tim Carlson.
Yep. Not sure on that, though.
Yeah, but suffice to say, gosh darn, battle tested and.
Well, his demeanor on the sideline is fantastic. He thinks so fast on his feet.
Right.
And he's
well, and the other thing too is a lot of people think because of his personality that he'd be the heavy-voiced, boisterous guy. No, he's pretty much, because we get the advantage of at the away games being on the sidelines. He's pretty much the calm, reasonable guy with the defense.
And he'll talk to the officials, but he doesn't scream at them or anything. He'll question a call here and there.
Yep. So, from an experience standpoint, it's unbelievable to have as much experience. And if you ask Ron or you ask Tony what the secret is back when Bob hired these guys, and Tony said it many times, he let them coach and he let them do what they do. Yeah. And that's...
Well, I used to interview Tony and Bill Nesbitt on Sunday morning for the Sports Zone show. And Tony would say, the difference between having these guys here all the time, meaning his assistants, is I don't have to coach the coaches.
Right.
They know exactly what... It's okay, here we go. You got the offensive line, you got this, and they have it every year. And he said, Bill's problem was in St. Clair was that he didn't have
the nucleus together.
Right, and he wasn't in the building. Right. And, to watch the kids and talk to the kids. And he had different coaches a lot. He was switching all the time. And he said, that's tough because
things have gotten better for him, I know.
Oh, I know. Years, and so is his team.
Right.
So there you go. It's proofs on the pudding.
Well, that's like, when you see a Mariner team at halftime, or even at any practice, they head down for the end zone. Offense goes over here, defense goes over here. Coaches huddle for about 5 minutes, talk about what happened, what we need to do without the kids.
Right.
Talk about what direction, what we need to change, what we need to strategize on. Speaking very matter-of-factly, no hollering, sort of right, maybe a few notes in the head. Break, come over here. Boom, 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 boom. Here's what we need to do.
Yeah.
And who comes out in the second half and makes changes? The Mariner football team does because of that.
Absolutely. They're watching all the time.
Yep. Other things, talk about the captains this year. Dennis Fitzsimmons, Jacob Headley, and I believe there's one more. I believe there's one more, but it didn't print out here, so sorry to the third captain.
We'll tell them the first game we do on TV, we'll mention all the captains.
You talked about returning starters. Defense has 4 returners. Offense 0. So we'll talk about that as the year goes on. There's a fair amount of sophomores, juniors, seniors on the team, so a little bit of everything. Biggest shoes to fill here were Matheson, Rivard, and Merchant.
Oh boy.
No kidding, right?
Yeah, I don't think that we'd have to even mention that, would we?
Yep.
Everybody that's watched games, everybody that's going to watch this show knows that.
What else to talk about?
That's about all I've got.
Yeah.
Just hope that the fans continue to support the program like they have. I know that Ron is going to put a good season together along with his assistants, just like he always does. I wanted to thank Ron for sharing some of that information with us, too. He was good enough. I know he's really busy this time of the year, and he got back with us like the next day, almost immediately, and it was great. The information was fantastic. I also wanted to mention, it's got to be a big thank you to the people that showed up.
Yes.
We got specks of paint on us.
paint on our face.
Because we were painting the outside of the fence here. Craig came over, said how beautiful the field is, and then he said, but you pull in and all you see is this rusty old cyclone fence up. And so we had probably, and we're not going to mention their names now.
Too many.
Because there's,
Might forget one or two.
And then we'll try to get everybody. But we showed up at 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning and painted until
2:30.
2:30, and we got almost the entire outside of the fence done, almost to the
ticket booth over here.
The ticket booth on the east side of the field. So, a big thank you to all those people. And there was kids from the high school team, the seniors, from the football team that showed up from Marine City. We had some people from St. Clair that showed up. Craig put out a request on Facebook, right?
Yep.
And we got a response.
Community involvement, both sides.
Not as big as we had hoped, but it was big. And if it would have been as big as we hoped, we would have finished it.
We'll get it done this week.
Edison
Detroit Edison donated the paint.
donated like 50 gallons or something like that of paint, and
Lumberjack for some supplies.
lots of supplies too. We had dozens of rollers and brushes and Visqueen, and it was just a wonderful thing to see that these places donated this, and these people donated their time and energy, and it wore me out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I had to take a mineral spirits bath before I could take a shower.
One last thing I'd like to say is check out Mariners on Facebook. I think it's Marine City High School football.
On Facebook?
Yeah,
I don't do that.
Schedule's on there. The Facebook. Gotta get this guy on the Facebook, right?
I don't do that.
His wife does, but he doesn't get on there. So they are on there. Scott Whiting will be doing videos all season long. Thank you to Logan Mead, Matt Olick for their camera work here today on a Saturday. Paul Dingaman, these guys here will be here all season. So next time, Jesse Laboon doing the overhead view from his drone. We'll get that in there.
That'll be put in as B footage. It'll over us while we're talking.
So stay tuned to Cable 6, CTV, Marine City, and St. Clair, and we'll enjoy another fruitful, positive, winning season for the Mariners on the football field, on the beautiful field we have here.
Beautiful field. Whoever was in charge of having this put down did
looks really nice.
A super job. And good luck to both teams in the East China School District.
So by the time we see you next time, it'll be on Friday night, Marine City, St. Clair. Don't touch the dial and show up in the stands. See you next time.